Well, welcome to Forever Exiled. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I am Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 284 of our podcast, bud.
Buddy.
It is episode 284 of Forever Exiled. Big shout out to our patrons, everybody who resubbed up this week. Thank you so much. You know what? Patreon gets you access to After Dark, and it is our podcast after the podcast, and I could sell it like any, you wouldn't even believe how awesome it is.
It's just as audio only. Well, it's more audio only than this.
You never
one.
know what you're
this
going to get.
One's audio
one.
only, but plastered on YouTube.
We're going to do a shocker video for Patreon. That's where the hot tub's going to come out.
A weird, sorry to get this inappropriate right away. That word has always the shocker. Just always, because I never used, there was no reason for me to use that word ever in my life.
Growing
it's a
up,
word,
yeah. Right,
but
right.
you'd say like, oh, I'm shocked, or wow, that's a big shock. But the shocker, like you never describe someone as a shocker. So the first time that word started showing up was, of course, in high school. You got your fingers, right?
Oh boy, here we go.
Right? No, I won't describe it. But then Path of Exile. We're talking years ago. I have it though. I got it for, I think they gave it away for free for a Twitch giveaway because there's no way that I would have bought it otherwise. But there's a portal with your index, your index and middle finger up, your ring finger down, and your pinky up.
Is that
there's
actually?
A portal.
No. Is it actually like that? What does it stand for though? What did they do it for?
I don't know. I mean, do you want me to say
it was called the shocker?
Two in the
no.
Do you want? No. Okay. You know what? I know. So Justin and I, we both have very busy personal days today. My daughter's getting a secret award at school.
Oh, that's so cool.
At the awards. Oh, and
nice.
She's the kind of personality, man, where, so like the teacher's like, hey, there's an award assembly and we'll give you, and they have to babysit the teachers, right? Or sorry, the parents. They're like, we give out awards to encourage people. We obviously do our best not to give the same kids the same rewards all the time because obviously they're superstar students. But the whole email that we got was, we can't give them to everybody. Please know we put equal effort into all students. You know, like I always laugh at the kind of parents that's needed for.
Yeah,
the parents. But my daughter, just with her, how she's aligned, this will be like, even if it's just like a participation ribbon. That will be on her wall the rest of her life. Cool. And she will look at it with like teary smiles for the rest of her life. Like this kind of stuff. So the fact that it's a secret, I can't wait to see her face as she walks out of school. So anyway,
definitely can't be late for that.
Path of Exile. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna clip it to you quick. What was I talking about? A portal, right? Hideout.
Well, while you're doing that,
portals. Yes, please.
If you're not on our Discord, pop on our Discord. It is the best. It is actually Discord. I haven't had much time this week to pay attention, but I have had conversations with people that are not around Path of Exile just because I'm waiting for 0.2.0, so I don't have much input to give. But it's also Ty. I know we got to talk about your week, but we're getting back into grass time.
Oh man, I cannot wait. And
it's coming.
But it's going to be good Discord server this year too. And like I'm kind of excited to get going. I want to level the lawn. I've decided I'm not going to spend the money to level the lawn. We just have too many raccoons. Grubs are still a thing. I found a couple in the lawn last year and this year, and I'm just waiting for the raccoons to be like, okay, it's Tyler's turn this year. Let's get this going. So,
do you treat it yourself for grubs?
No, I've never treated it. I'm just going to let it happen.
What does my camera think it's focusing on? Every now and then I come back and I'm not focused. Like right now, what do you think you see? Do I have another face?
There it is. The temple portal. And it's on sale if you want two in the and one in the every.
Jesus.
Okay, you can beep that out.
I'm
every Path of Exile experience. If you want to think about it, every single time. Here, hang on.
Made a note.
All right. WhatsApp or Discord?
I don't care. WhatsApp, Discord.
Oh, okay.
Discord. Tell me about your week.
Are you changing your mind on purpose?
No, I just don't have my WhatsApp open.
All right, there it is.
All right.
It is the temple portal effect.
Oh yeah, it was the two fingers. I don't know how people do that. It's like this.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
The ring finger is being held down.
Oh, you're right.
You click that video.
Okay, good for you.
And it is somebody went to ownership there and they're like, no, it doesn't mean that. It means this. And then they were like, okay, fine. Push it.
People pleaser.
Push it real good.
Tell me about your week.
It's been nice. I mean, yesterday the kids and I had a horrendous day. My son was like crying, saying it was like the worst day of his life. And for his small little 10-year-old life, it might have been. But it was newspaper day yesterday.
Yeah.
And, whatever, it's the lower mainland. You always prepare for the rain. It could be 30 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. And it's not going to be like, and there could be like forest fires everywhere. But you still have your rain jacket because it's the lower mainland and it just might start pouring on you, right? Mm-hmm. Like a cartoon, a cloud that would just follow you and you only around. So anyway, it's newspaper day and it starts trickling. So the kids have their stuff and then it starts raining heavier and heavier. And it's like, crap. And it's uncomfortable, right? We just have this little cart with us. It's not waterproof, but it keeps them dry enough. But the kids, of course, they can't be kids. You know what I mean? Like they have to remember to put the cover over the cart. Otherwise the papers get soaked, and kids are kids. Like they've got a million things on their mind. And so it's tough for them. I mean, still get them in trouble. I expect them to do it. And I give them a hard time when they don't. But of course, that's the parent on the outside. The parent on the inside's like, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't remember. I'm in La La Land. I'm thinking about my POE2 trees. But so anyway, that's happening and they're wrecking the papers. And so we go through and we're delivering papers and then it starts to hail. Yeah. Not like big, heavy, painful stuff. It's just, it's like, I couldn't even tell if it was snow or hail. It was so light until I look at the dog because I'm bringing the dog with us walking. And so then you see that it's light hail as opposed to snow. And then all of a sudden it starts snowing.
Yeah, yesterday
out of nowhere.
Like the dumbest thing.
But then they're thick flakes. They're not sticking on the ground because it's still above zero. So I don't know what was going on, but it was, still like getting in the way. It was glasses and it was heavy. It started soaking in. And then it just starts pouring rain, like it was like my wife's the kind of person where it's like if she sees little sprinkles in a puddle, she's like, it's pouring, right? Where it's like it's not. Whereas for me, it's yesterday, like it's got to be like I can't see very far because of the rain.
Yeah, you're doing this to your glasses,
so right? If I need windshield wipers on my glasses, then it's pouring. What's
it doing now, Ty?
Today's a beautiful day. Wore my flip-flops on the way to school. But so anyway, so that's going on just for that like hour and 15 minutes that it takes for us to do. That's all they went through. But so that sucks on its own. And you just, you feel bad for them. Right. But as a parent, you're like, kindly telling them that sucks. Like it's a sucky day, but that's how delivering papers 52 times a year works. But then Oliver realizes as we're halfway down the route that we're delivering February papers.
Oh, no.
The paper bin wasn't emptied properly. And so whether it was new, because I don't go to the bin with them anymore, I'm giving them more independence with it. So whether they were just old stacks that they weren't paying attention to, or if they dropped off old papers accidentally. So then
did you do it again, or just
pouring rain, it was when it was absolutely pouring that we had to go back to the bin and do half the route again.
Oh, dang.
And they were just sobbing and bawling their eyes out. And in my head, I'm like, I was actually having to be like, there was like, I enjoy being a parent and I enjoy seeing these transitions. And in my head, when my kids are like bawling about silly little childish things, I get this big smile on the inside. Like, I just love being a parent. Like, this is fun. But it got to the point where I was getting really annoyed with how depressed they were. Yeah. Like, it's just rain. So, but it was a good day. So we watched some movies and got them to have a shower early to warm up, and it was good. But it was March yesterday. It was March. But no, man, things are good. I'm excited to get going. Pruned the boxwoods and the lavender yesterday because I want them to be bushy, right? Instead of encouraging spread and growth, I just want them to be nice, thick, and bushy. So, yeah, no, it was good. Looking forward to the rest of it this coming.
Is your office door open right now, or is it closed?
I may have forgotten to close my office door. So like, you may have a tiny bit of an LG dryer doing its little ding telling me the load is done. But
it was the load itself that I was like, I swear it's not normally I've heard it that loud. Like maybe he's washing shoes.
Oh, was it clicking?
Shoes.
Was there a zipper
like
in there that you could hear?
Oh,
sorry, man.
That's fine.
Well, hope everyone enjoys it.
I don't listen.
But anyway, I know you don't. I actually haven't listened to last week's yet. I need to do that.
No.
But as Corsic in our Discord was saying, save the episodes for lawn mowing. 'Tis the season, right? So now, don't think it's going to be this week. Probably next week. I'll get the first mow in, and I'll have a few episodes all lined up, ready to go. So I'll be walking like super slow. Instead of doing a 45-minute mow, I'll be doing a 2.5 hour mow. But anyway,
fun.
Yeah. How about you? How was your week? You were squeezing this one in today.
Yeah, this week has been not fun. It's just been too busy. But let me just look. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can say that's not work. Well, actually, I did play F1 for the first time in like over a year. I played F1 24, first time installing it since we bought it when it first came out,
which is
forever
crazy
ago.
Because the 2025 season in real life just started yesterday.
Yeah, so we had some friends over and their son was like, could I play F1? And I was like, it was weird because he's never asked me to play F1 before. And I felt bad, and I was like, yeah, sure. I can probably hook it all up. So I put the stuff all together, and Logan, of course, loved it because he wanted to play it. So they played it for a while, and I was like, it looks fun. And then Christina's like, you should just be playing with them. And I'm like, I'm terrified of what it's going to do to my back. She's like, yeah, but you have fun. You laugh.
For those listening, it is a racing game, but we're all big F1 fans now, and we're into enjoying the racing experience as well, even though it's an absolute trash game. So a lot of us have, I play on a controller just because I find it more comfortable, but a lot of people like Justin have purchased like a wheel setup, and so they sit in a chair. And so it's not like, he's sitting on a couch with a controller, and just because he's playing F1, his back hurts more.
If I was playing on controller, I could probably play it because I can play Farming Simulator on the controller. I played Path of Exile 2 on the controller. It's the combination of the feet. So your feet are up a little bit and you're having to apply that pressure back and forth, and heavy pressure, but it's also, there's a lot of resistance in the wheel. And so there's just a lot of strain on my lower back when I'm playing. So, but we played, it was fun. And
how were you afterwards?
You know what? I survived. It was fine. I'm going to probably try it again.
Good. Okay.
And see how it goes, but it was a lot of fun to play. So yeah, I got to play that, and man, my week sucked. I'm just looking at it. It was bad. It was work. I don't want to just whatever. I know I drone on like that. It was very, very busy. I don't feel like it stopped, and today is just as bad. But
did you hire your son yet?
No. But we
still
did. I think I talked
relinquished
to
any power.
Nah. We're going to go in and see the specialist next week, Christina and I, with Logan, because we want to get a referral to like a referral to like an immunologist or somebody who's more focused on his type of stuff that's going on, just so we can ask more questions. And oh God, man, we watched. We were trying to finish Mad Men, but then we decided, of course, Drive to Survive came out, so we finished Drive to Survive last night because we wanted to
enjoy it.
Yeah, it's entertainment, but it's also like when you watch the season, obviously it's cool because you see a lot of the background stuff. But I understand. No, I don't understand the way that they portray some stuff. Sometimes it's like, I know they're trying to tell a story and they got to make it entertaining. And it's not even that. It's just like, have you watched it yet?
No, okay. But you feel free to talk about it, Aaron. If you're listening, he's going to spoil some stuff.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
We're going to get to it eventually, so yeah. I'm not worried about it. It's not top of my list at all.
I can't like spoil what happened in a race, but there's a whole, obviously the Mercedes talk with George and Hamilton leaving, and they're trying obviously to build up, Toto and George, Toto's, confidence in George and that he can do the job, but they used the race where he had the race taken away from him as like the example of he can do it. And I was like, all right, he played a weird strategy. It was a little weird. I was like, wait a minute. They didn't keep the story going. They just stopped at like he won. Anyway, but it was whatever. It was fun.
Oh, right. Where the team screwed up because his car was underweight and he got disqualified.
Yeah. Because he couldn't do that extra lap. So But other than that, man, I got nothing. It was work. My sister's coming down to visit, so we're going to be hanging out with them this weekend for my dad's birthday.
How far away does she live? 4, 5, 20
13 hours.
All right.
13, 14 hours.
North or another province? I forget where she lives.
Everybody's north, but yeah, north.
Sure.
Yeah, she's not in another province.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to apparently have taken time off next week, and I wasn't totally told that, but I have not. My wife has not been happy with me because my week next week is already relatively booked, and she's like, she has it off for spring break. I'm like, cool, I'll be around, but
don't bug me. And the office door is going to stay closed.
I actually have.
Well, Justin, I have a funny feeling that she did tell you, and she probably told you a few times, and you just don't remember.
All right. I don't know why I picked to do this podcast with you.
Okay, let me twist it. Christina, you can't talk to Justin about these things after he started drinking at noon for the sake of race night or podcast day or just hanging out in general.
I don't think I drank actually when we played. I mean, I have been back to drinking a little bit more than I would want to lately, but I'm calming that down. But listen, here's the thing. If you want me to do it, you put it in my calendar. And it was in my calendar that she was on holidays.
See,
I didn't know that was a
holidays
rule
together. What an idiot.
Listen,
we do the same calendar thing too. If Aaron doesn't have it in the calendar, I'm like, well,
I live off that
then it's
calendar.
on pencil. Then you're, I hear you. I hear you. I like today with Violet's thing, I have secret and then Violet award ceremony. And for some reason, it never came up in my mind. So I never told my wife about it.
Oh, no.
But it was in the calendar. And so my wife knew about it. And because I had titled it secret, she did. So it worked.
I had my roof
calendar
cleaned
magic.
yesterday.
You had your tooth cleaned?
Roof.
Oh, roof.
The roof was cleaned yesterday. We'll see how that goes. It was just to treat it, make sure it's clean, and get rid of any of the moss that was growing.
Okay, and your roof doesn't need braces? It's good? No cavities?
Seems pretty good. No leaks.
Nice. When your neighbors look at your roof, they're impressed.
Yeah.
That is good, though. Roofs, we have a squirrel in our roof.
Oh, no.
But I think it's just one squirrel, and I think I'm able to scare it away and bang at the roof a little bit until someone comes.
Do you have a tree that goes high enough that's close? I don't.
No, it's the electrical lines.
Oh, okay. Dang.
Where we live, people, we live in an area where I know a lot of other places in the world have fixed this, but the electrical lines are still all above ground. They're going to be there.
They're not here.
Forever.
Like ours are underground.
No. You
in
live
some parts of our city. They're different. Yeah.
Right. My area is my subdivision area is 50 years old. Yeah. So lines are still above. Mm-hmm. So electrical lines connect to the house exterior and all that kind of stuff.
That sucks though.
Yeah. Squirrels, birds are always running from the magnolia tree all the way up onto the roof, and it's fine, but they found a way to
get in,
chew through beside the chimney brick and get in. Yep. So it's fine. But I mean, I'm a lot more humane than I used to be.
Oh, I'm not.
So I'm not going to just chicken wire it shut.
Let them starve.
And then let all the baby squirrels die. You know what I mean? But when I used to be on Strata, when we lived at the apartment, I know that the amount of damage that birds and squirrels and that kind of stuff can cause, both long-term and short-term, it's worth making sure it's sealed off. But we have to consider the expense of whether we're going to do the short-term and just seal the holes, or take a look at putting kind of some sort of meshing all the way around the underside of our roof, the exterior side of the underside of our roof, to make sure it doesn't happen anymore. Because I can tell you, man, I'm not a fan of water problems. So if your roof is leaking,
I told you a while back when we had birds that went into the soffit and had made a nest in our roof. Yeah, that my original suggestion did not go well with my wife.
I used to be just as apathetic. For me, my wife's scared of spiders, but when if there's a spider in the house, she's like, no, don't kill it. Throw it outside. I'm like, hey, listen, my attitude is it has the entire world at its disposal. It's its fault. It shows. But when it comes to, I don't know what it is, but when it comes to critters, birds, anything like that,
killing them, but
I know, but I don't have that same attitude when it comes to something like that, where, I mean, if it was, I don't know, maybe I guess a rat too. I don't know.
Anyway. We ended up fixing ours and sealing it, but I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Just seal it and leave it.
But the problem was the stupid thing, it had babies. And so I was like, look, so we ended up just waiting a little bit further into the year. And then once it was all done, then we sealed it up. Haven't had issues since, but.
So the moral of the story is have kids. People will feel sorry for you and you'll stay alive longer.
I guess so. Yeah.
Don't need to like them.
No.
Just have them.
Survival.
No, wait. Don't shoot. I'm a father. Oh, man. Fine. You can go.
Next time.
That's right.
All right. Let's do some Path of Exile talk.
Yeah, man.
What do we got?
So there's another race, right? They had their second race.
Did another one?
Yeah, well, yeah. When they originally announced the races for PoE 2, they announced 3, right? In consecutive order. Okay. So they had the second one.
Is it always the same race parameters though? Like always? Okay.
I love that there's like community stuff that the company does for, community stuff the company does for the community. I don't give a crap about it at all. So I don't even click. But congratulations to all the winners. I think the same person won again. So
okay, cool.
That's great. We all think you're awesome. That is really cool. By the way, they were doing like 2.5 hours or something like that.
Cool.
Probably did it with zombies. Let's see. Another boss versus boss video that I haven't seen, but it was the 2 ghosty folk.
Yeah, in Act 1 I just
in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Who would you pick?
2. I always cheer for the ladies, man. And that's not because my wife would joke that's because I'm just trying to like find a way to get laid. But no, I've always just cheered for the ladies. I like it. There's nothing like a well done bad guy, female bad guy, bad girl, bad woman. That sounds weird when you say bad woman.
I'm trying to think who's harder to fight. I think I
find the combo annoying.
Yeah, if you take that
no matter which combo it is, I find it annoying. I like her fight better. I think that's just because the tells are good. One thing I actually really like about her fight individually is when she does the circles on the ground, they're perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Like they really are perfectly timed. And I wish the Grenor fight or Gianor, whatever his name is, I wish that was the duration of the tells for what he did as well. I think her fight is very similar to Doriani's in that regards where like, oh shoot. It's like as soon as your brain clicks like, oh, there it is. And you start reacting, you're just out of the circle without movement speed, right? And your fresh vanilla experience. And so I've always really liked her fight, even though I kite a lot more than I would normally. Like I always hate fights where I have to kite all the time, but I get damage is damage, but I like it. And if I felt like tanking it, I could do damage to her. I've liked that one. With his fight, I don't like it. The fights that you have, the skills that he does, they're not fun for me to go around and try and get around. And I think one thing that really bothers me is it's actually similar to the Grenor fight. He has this skill where he takes a step forward and then does a swing. And so he can actually hit you from pretty far away. And it's not as vanilla first playthrough friendly as her fight is. But I still find her fight challenging. Like I still need to be paying attention. But his fight, I find that I take a lot more damage no matter how much attention I'm paying to the situation.
You think they summon each other?
In the fight?
in the boss versus boss.
That would be hilarious, hey?
Like we couldn't figure out how to take that out. So yeah, it's
Which
weird.
Which boss do you like better?
I think I find her easier than his, but I agree with the same reasons. I find sometimes his movesets are too quick, especially to recognize what he's about to do. It's maybe not always that they're too quick. It's just I'm not always catching the difference between the start of a move or something. So, but I do really like that fight. Yeah, actually, I like them both in general until they start to summon each other. Then I'm like, no, this is not cool. Although it's way easier now. So like the first couple times going through it, like, do you remember how many times in LA we had to die and restart that fight? So many times.
Yes, both of them. I do. And that one thing that I dislike I forget which one it is, but GGG still got, and it's tough because you have to have the environment theme going on and then the character theme, what kind of being is the character. So there's certain colors and animations that are kind of required for what it is. But, you know, kind of like I remember when we and it's been a theme for me ever since of enjoying joking about it. But when Brittle Knee was on and she was joking about Cyrus, it's like the fight is just red on red on red on red on red. You know, when she was kind of supporting me with my inability to see like what am I supposed to be looking at here? It's the same in Path of Exile too. There's a lot of green on green on green or dark on dark on dark, and so even though visual clarity is better in a way, the environment's still very annoying. And unfortunately in that fight, I forget which fight it is, but there's where a couple graves open up and there's a couple holes in the ground. You can't see it when you're fighting around. And that was a big problem for me when you and I were playing, because we were playing couch co-op. I've found that hasn't been, it's still an annoying issue, but it hasn't gotten me killed very often.
Yeah, because you always know where you are.
Because I'm single player, right? When you're single player, even if you're playing co-op, but you're on different on different systems, you're always in the center or same section of your screen.
Yep.
Whereas when you're doing couch co-op,
it's way harder.
You cannot, there's no screen centering to help you find yourself. You have to be staring at yourself, know exactly what you were. And you're always going to lose yourself in a game. There's so often I wouldn't know any idea where my character was. Exactly. So we're in this fight, but we're also learning. We're remembering what our skills are. And then there's these like random holes that you can't see because the game's busy and then you die. So I remember being very frustrated with that. That was an unenjoyable fight for couch co-op.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, so they fight. Don't know who won. Didn't watch the video, but I love that they do it. The boss versus boss stuff. I hope they.
I will watch that one later because I did like the last one.
And for new listeners that are new to PoE 2, just wait until they do the battle royales, where they get like all the pinnacle bosses together, or all the like final act bosses together, or whatever. However they decide to group it. So fun. So fun. It's almost like what was it? It's a really good boss fight. Dark Souls 3. Oh, I forget what they're called. Remember the guys with the short knife and the long sword, and they're protecting. Their weapons all about corruption. You have to light the beacons, but they just keep killing each other and then resurrecting and then killing each other and resurrecting. Anyway, that's what's like. Good stuff. Good stuff. Concept art, sweet. And all right, PoE 2 teasers. Have you clicked on these links?
I've got them open, but I've not watched any of these videos.
So there's a weapon swapping thing that's kind of cool.
Explain that to me. Link. So it says where you can lock your main hand, offhand, or bow so that you can use the same items between weapon set 1 and 2.
Right. So in the game, of course, the weapon set thing is really cool. Now you can swap between weapons, and then it swaps your tree.
Yeah.
Right. They've now made it that you can use the same weapon.
Oh, for a different setup on the tree.
Switching your tree.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And they've made it so that you can switch just your main hand.
Right.
Or both.
That is actually really nice.
It is really cool, especially because like as a minion player, you know, I've been loving this theory crafting with weapon sets and stuff, but it's like, well, but I don't need 2 weapons. Why do I need to craft 2 weapons? Like this is all I need. I just need the plus minion bits. Like I don't need everything else, but I'd like this to be my aggressive style. I'd like this to be more my defensive style. So I quite like it. It's a really cool way to go about it.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Couple supports.
What else? Yep.
They've got a bunch of new supports coming out, so
I'm looking forward to it. I am so nervous that they're not going to tweak current skills. I really hope they do. But there's part of me that just wants to be like, you guys know certain archetypes can't level yet, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know what they're focused on with 0.2.0. I'm curious. I don't know if they're at the point of doing a sweep of existing. I imagine there will be some.
Well, as the next link shows, click on the next link. Have you seen? Which one? It's a short video. Watch GGG live March 27th.
Oh, okay. The 0.2 update launch date?
Yep. Just click it. It's like 20 seconds.
This is Path of Exile 2? Is this for Path of Exile 2?
Did I? No, it should be. Hang on. Let me click the link myself.
Path of Exile 2 content update 0.2 teaser, right?
Yeah. And then it had a cut scene and then it showed spears, right? Okay. And then it says Dawn of the Hunt, right?
Yeah, but it also says Path of Exile, Dawn of the Hunt. It doesn't. It's not Path of Exile
Aaron had
2.
the same thing. they're not emphasizing the 2 very well at all because they're only using their logo.
Oh,
Aaron
it's the 2 in the background.
Yeah, it's the 2 stakes in the back.
Because I was like, wait a minute, is this a league? Is this PoE 1 league or?
See, so here's the thing. What is that just an oversight, an assumption that people can see
it's
it?
titled Path of Exile 2. So, I mean, I guess that's a little bit on me, but I just read it and was like, oh, interesting.
Screenshots are screenshots, man. Like all of it's marketing. So you're either emphasizing that it's your sequel, or is this them like
it does have the 2 in the background, but I just didn't notice it.
Barely. People that are new to the game aren't going to recognize that as a 2. They're just
they might not know anything about Path of Exile, the original one.
Well, exactly. So kind of like there's part of your brain where it's like, are they just kind of succumbing, getting rid of PoE 1? You know, is this just, you know, they're not going to bother with the effort to emphasize that it's a sequel?
So what is this, March 27th? I have a couple
questions.
I'm just looking at the time. Video. March 27th is the reveal.
And then it's the week after that.
Okay, so they're doing the whole, like, we'll do an announcement type thing, which is fine if it's a major one. I am a little bit curious. So we're getting a class, at least 1. And I actually think maybe 2.
Now, you're talking class, not ascendancy. Last week or the week before, I screwed that up in my head. We're talking classes. So,
well, we know they're coming out with ascendancies. We don't know how many, but we know they're coming out with some additional ascendancies. But this has to be at least 1 class. I actually think that might be 2, just looking at that video.
Well, what makes you think it's going to be any class?
That's definitely the Huntress. 100%. We've seen the Huntress gameplay. We've seen how the Huntress plays.
Where's the Huntress, though? Oh, right. There's 2 per section. Okay.
And Huntress is like, it was a surprise to me that it wasn't out with release, because it was one of the original ones we saw them do gameplay with.
Same with Druid, right?
Well, I wonder if that was the Druid running behind the Huntress, because she said we the something, and I was like, well, I don't think the Huntress has a minion or a companion. I wonder if that's the Druid running behind her.
Maybe. But I mean, it could be one of those things where it's just about backstory for a certain class. Like I remember the silliness of Diablo 3. What was it? The rogue, or like the bow and the crossbow lady. What was her name? I forget. But the backstory was revenge, which I thought was hilarious, because every single like rogue or whatever it is that she was, that you started as, had a revenge story. You know what I mean? Like it was way too specific to be a backstory. So maybe it's just one of those. But
nope. Huntress and the Druid, that's my guess. Go ahead.
That's your guess. And then of course there's the ascendancy coming that people are saying, well, maybe it's a minion ascendancy for the
mercenary. Well, yeah, I saw that. I remember the ballistas. Well. Yeah, and the little dude.
Yeah. And he's
charged.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. One thing that stood out to me right away, and it's Bex's fault, but it's a good thing. When I guess I'd interacted or replied often enough or liked enough of Bex's posts that now that she's not with Path of Exile, I don't follow her anymore, because if she's tweeting something about what she's doing while I'm into the Path of Exile experience, I don't mean any offense by it, but even though whatever algorithm they have, when she posts and replies to Path of Exile, it's like top of my list.
She does.
I see
She's
it right
good
underneath the post. Yeah, and I think that's really cool, staying in touch. But she had a comment where it's like, I love the transition from the cinematic spear to the in-game spear. And so when I watched, I was like, yeah, like they have the cinematic where we assume the Huntress is throwing the spear, and then it cuts straight to the gameplay where the spear is throwing, but it was done really well. Yeah. So excited for that. I mean, that's 3 weeks away where we actually get to play it. We'll know everything that they want us to know in 2 weeks. So that's exciting.
I'm thrilled it's that far away. I was so nervous it was going to come out soon. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, so I have a question for you, and I asked this about it before, but I get Path of Exile is as unique of an experience as they come. I know a lot of people do this free-to-play concept now, and that games are just designed. A lot of games now are designed to not be replaced, but just continually evolve, like what Path of Exile has been doing for the last 10 years. So and the enormity of PoE. It's not like something like Sea of Thieves or something like that. You know what I mean? Like the complexity of this game is always going to be astronomical. But I'm still they haven't gone around this beta early access the way I would have expected or hoped. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a criticism, because who knows? Who knows? They seem to be treating this early access experience just like they would their normal game. Maybe that's for the best, maybe not. I don't know. But when they come out with a title for the 0.2, it's like a league launch. Gives you the impression they're, going into the, and I really hope it's not, but once every 3 months for the next big reveal, big change. Is that weird? Does that irk you at all that it's like actually titled? It's not just like the next beta patch and try this out. Do you like, it makes sense from a marketing standpoint because there's a whole bunch of people that are treating this just like a game, not like an early access game, but just as a game to spend their time. So the marketing in that regards makes sense, but does it make you nervous at all that they're treating it more like a released game than they are something early access?
No, I've seen other early access do similar things where there's a thematic update that comes out as they're working through early access. And I think that's kind of what they're doing here is my assumption without knowing what 0.2.0 actually entails. It's hard to say for sure, but I can see, I actually don't mind it. And I'm actually the opposite side where I don't mind it every 3 months just because I want, I like the idea of a bunch of big pull me back changes versus like little things as we go. Like one of the things I've struggled with through the end as we're getting towards the end of this current content version and we're going to be working towards 0.2 is the changes that they've made were not big enough for me to want to start playing again. And I want some big changes that do bring me back to play again. So if that means it's every couple months, then I'm on board with that. But them titling it, I think it's definitely clever on their end and doing the reveals and all that kind of stuff. They know it works for them, so it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm curious what they're doing because it would be shortly after this that they're going to have to do the same thing for 326, right? When was the release for 326? Do you remember? I can't remember what they said.
Did they say
they're pushing it through to April?
Or May? It's a bit.
It can't be June. Holy crap. If it's June, that's insane. Wow. It might be. You might be right. Anyway, I think
they said they had their estimate. They gave out a month. I just forget what it was.
Yeah, I think you might be right. What would concern me is if this is just the Huntress. If this is just one class. It wouldn't bother me so much in the sense of like, okay, 0.2 is bringing out a new class. We know we're getting some ascendancies. The only thing that would make me a little nervous is going like, you got 6 still to come. Are we doing this? Are you coming up with a thematic like reveal for every single class? So I'm hoping it's 2. I would love to see. I really want to play the Druid. So Huntress doesn't actually interest me. I saw it. It looked cool. I think it was I feel like it was in Seattle that people could play it. Maybe not, but I don't know.
We could play the Huntress when we were in LA.
I don't think so. No, Huntress wasn't one of them.
But the Druid was in Seattle.
Did they actually have the Druid playable?
Yeah, they've had the Druid playable
for people,
small moments. Yeah, for small moments.
I didn't think they did. I don't mind it. I don't mind them naming it. It makes sense to me. I like having a thematic update to your thing is not uncommon. And I think it's becoming very clear that we're going to see lengthy bouts between big updates, which I don't mind. But
as long as it's coming out with a lot of content,
as long as there's, exactly. Like,
I'm sure that's exactly what it is. I mean, look how long they've been waiting for 0.2 and like how apologetic the introduction and value to 0.2 was. Sorry, not 2.2, TO 0.2. But so we know that this is going to tackle a lot of stuff. I just hope then this is like, I'm half excited and half nervous.
What's the nervous side for? What are you nervous of?
Well, like you can make it the vanilla experience, leveling through the vanilla experience. I know that there's always going to be feedback from experienced Path of Exile players where the campaign is a puzzle, not a puzzle like a lot of experienced Path of Exile players are. The puzzle for the campaign isn't about theory crafting. It's about what's the fastest combination I can use to get through this so I can get to endgame. So there's not a concern about the new player experience. Whereas for me, I want to be able to tell all of our friends, hey, pick this up, give it a shot. And with any other difficult game like Elden Ring or anything else, you feel like you have a chance, but there's frustrating experiences, but you're not doing anything to screw yourself up. Whereas Path of Exile has a history of these skills literally can't do it, even though we're providing them for you at this stage of the game. And so the original release of early access had it so that certain archetypes just could not exist. If you wanted to be a caster, there were some skills you could use, but there were others that you could not. Experienced Path of Exile players aren't concerned about that because, well, not all of them. I'm just saying, like, if your goal is to burn through the campaign, you're like, oh, shoot, this skill's not working out. Let me swap and do this, 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 and this. But if you're marketing and you want new players to be able to play, you have to care about these are the skills that we're providing the player. Sure, I mean, the supports you provide your skill are going to dramatically impact. So certain supports are going to make your skill invalid. But at the end of the day, if you start as a minion player, you should be able to carry that archetype through, even if it's not the best. It shouldn't be impossible. It should just be not the best. You know what I mean? If you wanted to start as a caster, if you want to start as melee, or if you want to start as this, you need to be able to function. Like a new player needs to be able to go through this, yes, using their head, but there shouldn't be an impossible experience that the user's just like, what did I do wrong? And the answer is nothing. It's just, you're not an experienced Path of Exile player. You know what I mean?
My feeling is that Path of Exile never becomes sort of the game that you're describing. I just don't. I think it's too big, too complex, and can't be dumbed down. And I don't mean that offensively. Well, I'm saying, just let me finish.
I think you're misunderstanding me.
Okay.
Skills need to be valid, but not impossible.
But you can't what I'm saying though is you can't always have all of them balanced. I think that there's too many.
It's not
of
balanced.
Them.
I'm not talking balanced. I'm talking capable.
The only time I experienced it, and one of the problems is you haven't branched out from the sorceress, right? Like you were pretty committed, especially early on, to the is it sorceress that you start as? Yeah.
Yep.
That was the only time I experienced that issue. Like for me, I did go the witch route. That was probably one of the hardest, but I did play the warrior. I played through the other ones. And while, yes, you get to this point of like, oh, this skill's not really working. For me, I had that problem with Earthquake or something with when I was leveling with the big melee guys and switched to a different skill and was able to progress. I felt like that through all of the classes until I hit the sorceress. The sorceress for me was extremely frustrating. So I don't know that it's actually in a terrible spot, but you've definitely experienced the worst part of it multiple times.
I guess my point is, if you're looking to play like a minion player, and I know this is redundant for regular listeners, but if you're looking to play a minion player and they provide you with many different options of skeletons at the beginning as you level, you can't use those to progress in the current state. You're not just going to be able, I'm going to invest fully into minion stuff and my frost skeletons are going to be the only offense that I have and I'm going to level. And that's a totally valid build. A very default, like when you're thinking, I want to play a minion archetype. I know that like there's going to be people that push up their glasses like me and they're going to be like, well, RS, right? Raging Spirits has a minion tag. That's not an archetype though. Like I'm not talking tags. If you are in the mood for a minion archetype, you have summons that follow you around, like skeletons or kind of, in this case, like zombies, but mostly the skeletons. If you are using RS, you're casting. That's a sorceress. That's a casting
too. Same as zombies.
Yes. It has a longer duration, but yes, exactly. So the minion archetype currently is only skeletons, and you cannot progress only skeletons.
But you're saying the archetype means that it has to be a permanent minion, but that's you putting that on the archetype of minions, right? Like
what when you go into any ARPG and you're like, I'm in the mood for a minion archetype, that is what the archetype is. So you either have that as a valid option or not. I'm not saying it's the best option. I'm not saying it's a balanced option, but think of an ARPG where you're like, yeah, I feel like being minions, and you can't progress through the campaign as minions. You actually have to play a different way, and then eventually you can play as the archetype.
I actually think that they have that balance done really well until you get to the end of Act 1, because I actually felt like I could play with minions, permanent minions, until I got to the Act 1 boss, and it didn't get better until I was into Act 2. So like I felt like my progression, it sucked. It was definitely not one of the easier ones, but I could progress through Act 1 with the minions. But by the time I got to the end of Act 1, I would be very impressed to see somebody do Act 1 on a new startup with just some type of persistent minion.
Yeah. So I know that I've mentioned that, and that's the only thing. Like, that's what I'm nervous about, because in the past, like, the GGG has not in their history shown that that's important to them from a fan's perspective. Maybe it is. Maybe they talk about it all the time. But this will be the first time where the leveling experience is a new experience for GGG, and that kind of stuff matters, right? This is their first time, like, really throwing in resources to care about the new player experience. So I'm excited for it. But at the same time, like you've said, and we've emphasized in the last few months, it was only a couple classes, right? It's only a couple skills. And so and do you see them changing bosses for the sake of an archetype?
No,
Probably
I don't see any of that.
But then
stuff
how do you
happening
make
right now.
this archetype, like, how do you make minions valid against this boss without making them completely overpowered for the rest of the act prior to it, right? Like, I was the same way. It was only once I hit Grenor or Genor or whatever his name is, and then you get into the Wrath Break and you're like, oh my goodness, like, I don't even see them res
somebody come
before,
join
right?
me.
Yeah. So, but it's just one of those things where all of a sudden it's like, how do you make them not overpowered?
Yeah, I
But
don't know
at
the
the
answer
same
to
time,
that.
but to me, as an ARPG fan, the vanilla, like the basic archetype, needs to be capable, not overpowered, not even strong, but it needs to be capable. Like, if you think about, like, it doesn't matter what the basic archetype is, but a basic archetype in an ARPG needs to be capable. You need to be able to progress with it.
Yeah, so is your concern that they're not going to touch? Because my feeling is, I don't really know. My feeling is they are probably, even with as large as they've grown, relatively stretched thin. And so we're seeing classes, we're seeing ascendancies. I don't see them doing like a big comb over old. I say old, but I don't see that happening as a major content update. But I guess we'll see.
My concern's just the old mentality. Like, well, there's other skills they can use until these skills grow. And we've seen 100 patches, like I've said in the past, we've seen 100 patches where GGG has buffed a skill, through levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then it starts petering out to what it used to be. We've seen them do that 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's kind of like, because there are only certain kinds of archetypes that I can play without getting nauseous with all my concussion stuff. I really hope that it's this point to patch where it happens, because otherwise I'm waiting another 3 months until I can play minions.
Well, if they haven't touched sorcerers, I hope they've made something, one of these new things, something that you find some enjoyment in and doesn't make you sick, because I would be surprised to see them. I mean, it would be awesome if they did. I just would be surprised to see them do a pass over existing stuff, because I think they're so focused on new stuff. And one thing that surprised me, even leading up to point 2, which I haven't been I don't know if I'm a fan of. I've kind of mentioned that I don't care if they focus heavily into the end game updates, because even though I've played it all and got bored of it, I'd like to see some of the new stuff. I feel like they're relatively focused on end gamey stuff, and to me that feels like something you should focus on when you're like much closer to your full release. I feel like right now it's like, hey, let's improve the stuff that will always matter. But with that said too, though, everybody knows I hate campaign, always will hate campaign. It's not I want to get to the end game. So they're in a weird spot. Like, how do you determine what you're going to focus on? But it does feel like it's been a lot of focus on end game.
It does. So I guess a non-minion example for me would be, I can't get past that fight in Act whatever, where the underground guy walks up to the platform, you're underground.
Oh yeah.
And then
awesome.
He summons the little robots that come at you. And they shock and show you. I'm using Frostbolt, which I absolutely love. I love its AoE. I love that it auto pierces. I love that it chills. And I'm, as a sorceress, I have like all damage, and I can't. And hopefully the solution isn't supports, because if the solution is supports, that means everyone's going to be using the same supports, and you're an idiot for you're an idiot for using these supports and not these supports. You know what I mean? Like, if there's mandatory supports, then it's a cheap fix. Short term, sure, but it's beta or early access, so short term's fine. It's just, I hope, I don't know, just nervous, because they've never been, or as a fan of GGG, I've never been in a situation where I'm like, it could be that they fix this time around.
when
New
I did
player
that
friendly.
fight as the witch with minions, I actually liked it because the minions would body block a lot of the damage that was coming into me. When I did that fight as the sorceress with Spark, I wanted to lose my mind. It was so hard. It took me forever.
And even though I'm pure damage right now with Frostbolt, I don't have the damage to one-shot those little bots that show up. So when they show up, by the time if I've survived,
yeah, I remember you saying they're already back out.
And I'm not actually fighting the boss once those phases start. And so, but anyway, I haven't turned the game on in a couple of weeks just because it's not a fun.
I turned it on to buy some guild slots.
Oh yes, thank you for doing that, by the way. And feel free to join our guild.
Why did I? There was another reason. Maybe it was just to buy the guild slots, but
it's farming simulator.
I am playing farming simulator when I have some time, but I was debating actually trying the Spark out, but then I was like, what am I doing it for? I've experienced the new towers, and just the kind of updates that they've come out with aren't ones that make me want to go like, oh, I should go do some maps and try this out. So I am very much looking forward to first off, I love when they do reveals anyway. So like the 27th, that's going to be very cool to get to watch a reveal because I love when they do those. Those are fun. And it'll be fun to see what they're coming out with. April 4th is what it shows on here for when what is that? Did they plan around us? Let's see. 27th. Nice job. Oh, damn it. But the release is on a Friday. That's fine though.
It always is. With the exception of the last release they did.
Yeah.
It's always a Friday.
Well, at least the reveal happened before and we get to talk about it, and then we'll figure that out but whatever. At least something's coming, some big update. I hope it's big. I'm excited for it. It'll be fun.
It will be. And it's halfway in between my daughter's birthday and my wife's birthday. So it's perfect timing.
Nice job.
I'm not interrupting anything for it.
Perfect. All right, let's wrap this up because both of us have to get running. But nice short episode this week. Forever Exiled 284. I'm Justin AK Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week in 285. Have a fantastic week. If you're looking for more information, you'll find down below. We'll get a website, foreverexiled.com. The best Discord. Pop in there and say hello. And thanks to, I should have said this at the beginning, thanks to all the people who hit the 5-star button on Spotify. And if you use Spotify or Apple, is it with the bigger GBs, the iPhone app or whatever? Yeah, hit the 5-star on there as well. Did I say everything? Patreon, you can find it somewhere. Thanks for your support. Got it?
Yep, they got it.
Nailed it.
I think you got it.
First time.
I am excited for the patch, by the way. I know it sounded whiny.
I like that you throw that in at the very end when we're done. Hey, I am excited.